Hello, Fempreneur. My name is Lyndsie Barrie, and I am the creator and founder of YYC Fempreneurs, a community and education system for female entrepreneurs based in the Calgary area. I'm so honored to be here presenting to you. Thank you so much, Tiana, for inviting me to be part of this awesome course that you're building for, that you have built for mompreneurs. I'm going to be sprinkling in all sorts of things that I teach on a regular basis to fempreneurs, including a lot of things from my recent book, Find Your Voice on Social Media. Now, the subject of our talk today has to do with the similarities between being a mother and being a leader. Leadership is key in both motherhood and entrepreneurship. And what I've discovered is there are 3 E's, things that start with the letter E, that are essential to succeeding as an entrepreneur. And because we're moms, we naturally have these gifts. Now, it's a mindset shift to harness them and utilize them in business to better serve the people we want to serve. And I'm going to teach you how to do that today. You're going to need a notebook and a pen, and you're going to be doing a little bit of, thinking on this subject, some journaling. So get comfortable, get ready, make sure you have a hot caffeinated beverage with you. And let's dive in. I think the reason why so many moms don't harness their natural motherhood skills when it comes to being a leader in their marketing and in business is because we are so busy serving our kids and families, and that can be a huge distraction from doing the things we need to do in our business. So I'm going to help you refocus and be really, really clear on why we're going to do the 3 E's and what they're going to help us achieve. So again, make sure you have that pen and notebook handy, and you don't have to write down everything that I'm going to share with you in this presentation because I've created a PDF version of it for you, and you can get it at yycfempreneur.com/3E. So go over there and grab it right now. Go and grab it after. Maybe you want to go grab it now, print it, and have it in front of you as you continue to participate in this presentation. The first E in leadership is example. And as mothers, we know how important it is to lead by example. We also know that we don't do it all the time. And sometimes we say things like, say as I do, or no, how does that go? Do as I say, not as I do. So in business, we have to get even better at that because sometimes we only have 3 seconds on a social media post to grab their attention. These are the people that we want to serve. So we need to be leading by example in a very quick and efficient way. And ultimately, how we're going to do that is by understanding what makes a great leader in the eyes of our ideal clients. So this is going to be different, slightly different for every single entrepreneur watching this. However, there are some keys that are applicable to all of us. And they are also applicable to us in our role as mothers. Now, what I want you to do is take a few minutes to really focus in on what, in your opinion, makes a great leader. You may want to make a couple of columns and say what makes a great leader as a business owner and what makes a great mother in the form of a leader. So, things like being loving and kind and caring, being someone who's a great listener, all those different things that you feel make a great leader. I want you to pause the video and write them down. Take as long as you need to write these things down. And then we're going to come back and we're going to dive a little deeper into the example part of being a great leader and how you can harness more of that in your marketing to better serve more people, especially when it comes to attracting them on social media. So I'll see you back here in a moment. Now you've got a great list of all sorts of things that you feel make up a great leader. Now I actually have an episode of my podcast, the Fempreneur Marketing Podcast, that is the mastermind group that I have, one of our sessions where I asked the girls, I believe there was 8 of them on that call, what makes a great leader? And they took some time to journal, then they shared, and a lot of the things that they felt make up a great leader are probably also on your list. However, I do encourage you to go and check that out. I realize I didn't share a lot of my story before I dove into this presentation. You can hear all about me and who I am on Tiana's podcast, The Part-Time Jungle. I am featured in episode 21. So definitely check that out to learn more about me and more ways you can get involved with the YYC Fempreneur community. If a lot of the things that I'm saying to you in this presentation are really resonating and you feel like you want to dive deeper and you want to connect with more women like you, then absolutely, learn more about me in that podcast episode. And of course, go to yycfempreneurs.com. All right, so you've got a great list in front of you right now. The 3 top things that came up in that mastermind session with my Fem Team girls was 3 things. So organization, and that includes systems, of course. The second thing was being a good listener, and how do we show that we're a good listener and how do we actually embody that? And then lastly was letting others lead and preparing them to lead, giving others confidence to be great leaders, that kind of a thing. So if any of those things are written down on your list, high five, we're on the same page, which is awesome. I'd love to hear some of the other things that you have on your list. So please connect with me on Instagram, send me a DM, let me know that you're participating in this right now. And some of the things that are on your list, I would love to know. You can reach out to me on Instagram at YYC Fempreneurs. You can also find me on Facebook as well. So first of all, what you need to do to lead by example and to give your social media followers and potential new clients that confidence that you are an organized person and you have systems in place to serve them in the way they want you to, is by simply showing it. And there's a number of ways you can do that. Now, what I recommend my girls do, my new Fem Team girls, when they come in, I partner them up so they each have a partner, and I ask them to do a social media and website audit on one another. And what they're looking for is great things, home runs, awesomeness. So they're kind of dividing their page into 2 columns and being like, here's where you really nailed it and here's where you need to do some work. I want you to do this for yourself. I want you to go to your website and I want you to look at it from an outsider's perspective. Now, the problem with this is you're not going to see some things that others would see. So if you want to get even better at mastering that organization, and I have systems in place, leading by example thing, then ask others to audit your stuff. Ask them to go to your social media pages and see if there's different language on different things that are leading people down different paths, or if it's very consistent. Do you have a consistent tagline that you use? Do you have consistent colors that you use? Is your logo the same on all the different places, or have you got some social media channel that you haven't looked at in a while that's still got an old logo on it? So this is 2 things. This is, of course, visual, and then this is message, right? And there's also one other thing that we're going to come to. We're going to come to this a little bit later on, and this is to do with how do you provide ways to take action. So we're going to just park that over there, and we're going to come back to it because it's very important, of course, as a mother. How do we get these kids taking the action they need so they can get the life that they want, so that they can feel confident and proud of themselves and get that stuff that they want to achieve, so that they can just feel like awesome human beings. We need to provide ways for them to do that, not necessarily always provide the ways, but we need to kind of point them in the right direction. And marketing and social media and being an entrepreneur is no different. We need to provide options, and sometimes it's better to provide 2 or 3 than just 1. As we know as moms, if we just tell them to do something and we don't give them a couple options, I've heard arguments that you're not preparing them for decision making by only giving them 1 option. And as adults, we like to have a few options. We don't like having only 1 option. So, we're going to come back to the calls to action stuff in a bit. That PDF guide that I was talking about earlier includes this scorecard to help you audit someone else's social media, to help someone else audit yours. It's a great guide for them to use, and then they can just jot notes down under each of these headings and then give that to you. And it will help you so much to make sure that your website and social media presence is delivering the right message in the right way. So for now, just make sure that you have that website and social media audit on your to-do list. So I'd like you to flip to a new page in your notebook and start building a to-do list, because as we continue in this presentation, as I continue sharing these 3 E's of leadership with you, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. I need to do that. That's been bumped to the top of the list. This has been moved down. This has been moved off the list. So keep a list going in your notebook. Now, the next part of leading by example is being a good listener. Now, marketing is simply building relationships. And how do we build relationships? We do it through meaningful conversation. And how do we start meaningful conversations? By asking great questions. So if you know specifically who you are serving, and we are not talking about that in that presentation, but if you need help with that, YYCFempreneurs.com. There's a ton of great episodes on Tiana's podcast. If you know who you're serving, then you need to be able to ask them questions that pertain to their ideal outcomes, understanding that better, and then also understanding their challenges they're facing that are stopping them or feel like they're stopping them. Maybe they feel like there are roadblocks between them and that ideal outcome. So being a good listener usually starts with asking meaningful questions, but sometimes it doesn't take more than one little question to have someone really open up to you and share, some of their challenges. And that's when you get the opportunity to step in and lead. And then they might do some research into you and pop over to your website. And because you just did your audit and it all looks great, they're like, wow, this person's got systems and structure in place and different ways to serve me. I do feel like she can lead me down the path I want to go down. Hey, fempreneurs, mompreneurs. I'm so used to saying hey, fempreneurs. So my computer, my computer's getting old. I need a new computer. And now I'm recording with my phone. So this looks a little different now because of that. So we're continuing on, powering through the technical difficulties. Thank goodness for phones, right, ladies? That's one thing that is an essential part of being a great leader, is rolling with the punches and persevering. Those are your bonus two essentials, which are not words that start with E, but they both have E's in them, I think. So we're good. All right. So as I was saying, if you don't know how to ask great questions to start those meaningful conversations with your ideal clients on social media, in the grocery store lineup, what you need to do is go to surveymonkey.com and create a survey. 5 or 6 questions, multiple choice, check boxes, things where you have to come up with some of the things that they are seeking. So you want to get better at describing their ideal outcome in their words. Be careful of using industry jargon. Don't use words that your ideal clients aren't naturally using in their language. Don't use things that maybe you would only say if you're talking to someone else in your industry. Be very careful about that. So anyways, they actually have a step-by-step guide to writing a great survey in this book. So check this out. It's on Amazon if you need it. You can also look more into the Fempreneur Marketing School, which I offer about once every quarter to, 8 to 10 lucky ladies. And it's an awesome marketing education system that has over 100 I think we have 112 or 113 grads through the program now. And so if you need help with all this marketing stuff that I'm kind of skimming over right now for the sake of time, then definitely check that out at yycfempreneurs.com. Now, we have summarized the first E of leadership, which was example. We're moving on to evolve. As a leader, you need to be able to evolve. Now, we've all been in a world where there's been a lot of shifting going on. So what I want you to do right now is take some more time to journal, to put your thoughts on paper, grab that pen, grab that notebook. Here's the question I have for you that I want you to answer. What makes a great leader? How has your business and or the needs of your clients shifted in the last 6 to 12 months? So I want you to pause the video, take some time to write your answers to that question. How has the needs of your clients, your ideal clients, not necessarily people that are already your clients, but those people that are out there still searching for your skills and talents, how have their needs shifted? So maybe this is you needing to deliver your skills and your smart brain in different ways, package it in different ways. Usually there's going to be an increase in social media activity required for the pivot that you're going to have to make, especially with, the fact that we can't get together in person a lot these days. So take a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, and just brain dump everything to do with the answer to that question of how your business has shifted. in the last 6 to 12 months and the needs of your clients. And if you haven't shifted your business at all and you haven't really taken the time to think about what your clients need from you and how that's different now than it was a year ago, do that right now. Create, learn, repeat. Okay, so first, create. You're going to need to create new ways for your ideal clients to experience the change that you can help them experience. Now, whether that be creating ebooks, live courses on Zoom, whether it be writing a book like this one, whether it be going live on Instagram more often, maybe checking out something like Patreon, patreon.com, and starting up a way to serve your clients there. So what do you need to create, or what haven't you created that you feel your clients need to create? This is a great survey question, by the way. Ask your clients from the different modalities or different ways you can serve them. What is their favorite? How do they want you to deliver that knowledge and that change experience to them? So learn. Once you have packaged your smart brain in a certain way, learn from how it's been received. Ask them, DM in the Instagram. DM is a great, that's jargony. Direct message them in Instagram or send them a Facebook message and ask them how they enjoyed the ebook after they attend your Zoom workshop. What did they take away from it that was most impactful? What did they feel it was lacking? How can you improve it next time? Those are the 3 questions you should be asking people over and over again when they take part in something that you've created for them. Lastly, repeat. And I'm not talking about repeat something exactly the way you did it before. I'm talking about repeat the process. The process is asking great questions, finding out what they need from you, trying things, right? Sometimes we just get really excited to create something, so we create it. And this is okay if it takes, a matter of an hour or 2. Don't create a full 6-week course if no one signed up for it, by the way, okay? Don't do that. So the first time I taught Fempreneur Marketing School to a group of 10 ladies, I asked, my fempreneur friends, my girlfriends who were always like talking to me about marketing and asking me how I did this and why I did it that way. And I said, well, why don't you just take a course? I'll put on a 6-week course and I'll introduce you to some of my other, friends that are also female entrepreneurs, and I'll teach you everything I want to know. And they're like, well, what are you going to teach us? And I told them a few things, but I really didn't know what I was going to teach them because I was like, I'm going to build it for you. Right? So if you build it, they will come. That is only true in baseball. That is not true in marketing and business. Okay? So don't build something unless there's people that want it. So when I say create, learn, repeat, what I mean is create stuff, learn from how you can make it better, or like how you can change it and make it more what they want it to be, and then repeat the process, meaning create something else or create a better version of that thing and launch it out there. And if you need help with the actual launch steps of these things you're creating, I have a couple great YouTube videos. Go to youtube.com/Lyndsie Barrie and you will find those videos there. Now, with evolution and evolving, one of the essential E's of leadership and motherhood, we need to be consistent, right? So when it comes to creating and learning and repeating, we need to be consistent. So let's relate this to motherhood. How do we create, learn, repeat in motherhood? Well, we create different ways to teach our kids important life lessons, right? We, if they're not learning something, we're all homeschooling right now. I think most of us are. If they're not picking something up, then we try to find different ways to share that information with them, right? So we want to adapt to our child's learning style, whether that be with life skills of laundry and dishes and not, letting mold grow in their bedrooms, to everything from that to how to write a resume and how to follow up after you've, submitted a resume somewhere, how to read through the requirements of a job so that when you apply for the job, you actually do it the way they asked you to do it so that they don't disregard your application before you even get a chance. All the different things that we are teaching our kids, we need to do it. And then we need to learn from how, we need to get feedback from them on what didn't you know? How did you feel unprepared? And then we want to repeat the process. We've got to continually be creating ways to share information with our kids. And that doesn't always have to come from us and our brains. We sometimes need to hire tutors, or we need to, put we need to put like parental guidance on the Netflix so that they're not learning things they shouldn't learn, and all of that stuff. So this is very much the same in business. And consistency is key. So going strong for a week or two and then not caring and not, asking questions or being present for a month, like that's going to send mixed messages, and it's not going to create the results that we all want. So that is evolve. So create, learn, repeat. Now let's move on to our last essential E of leadership, which is also, very much naturally in you because you are a mother. So you have maternal instinct, which means you have a sense of emergency when you need it. That's right. The last E of leadership, essential E of leadership, is emergency. So here's a question for you. What if you were in the exact same place a year from now? I want you to put pen to paper with this. I want you to pause this video again for the third and final time. And I want you to, well, there might be a couple more times actually after this, if you would like to. This one is not optional. Pause the video. You need to do this. You need to understand clearly what it would feel like if a year from now, you are in the same place you are right now. You're having the same challenges. You've got the same goals and desires, and they're the same distance away from you as they are right now. Pause the video, write it down. Now, if that activity, that writing, journaling that you just did, if that alone has stirred up some emergency, a sense of emergency in you, that's awesome. That's what we want. We want you to understand. I want you to understand. You want you to understand what it feels like to run away from fear. Because the interesting thing about fear and the fear of failure, and I mean, obviously being in the same place a year from now isn't failure, but it could be perceived as failure to some people. I don't really believe failure exists, but we often do fear failure. That little voice in our head is like, oh my gosh, don't do that. That's scary. What if you fail? So let's turn that little voice that's often quite annoying and gets in our way. Let's make that help us by calling out our actual fears. And quite often a big fear for all of us is just treading water, spinning our tires, right? Now, how do we relate this to motherhood? What if your children who are, let's say your child is 10 right now. What if a year from now your child has not learned anything new, knows the exact same level of math, is not making their own lunch still, is, maybe watching the same TV series over and over and over again, maybe has the same fights with their friends about the same things, maybe is still on the bunny hill and not, being brave and going on the chairlift, like any of those things that you would naturally think are kind of impossible because a child should always be growing and learning. You have that same responsibility to the people out there that need your product and or service. That's where the emergency comes into play. Pat Flynn, he's one of my favorite marketing educators. He has a great podcast called Smart Passive Income. He recently did an episode talking about Scurgency, which is scarcity and urgency combined into one word. These are things we need to have in every one of our launches. So remember when I was talking about creating things? Every one of those things you create needs to have that emergency thing attached to it. Because if it doesn't, what's going to happen is a year from now, a lot of these people who maybe browsed through your post about something that didn't have a deadline on it, didn't have an early bird price on it, they scroll by because they're like, I can get that whenever. They are maybe going to be in the same place a year from now because you didn't give them that sense of emergency. Like, I got to get this now. This is what I need. If I don't get it now, it's going up by $50. It's only available for a week. And then she's not offering this course again until the springtime or whatever the case may be. That may seem like greasy, kind of like deceitful, salesy to you. But what it actually is it's you effectively and passionately serving your ideal clients because you know how the human brain works. right? If something's always available, people aren't necessarily going to go and grab it. But if it's only available for limited time, and if the price is going to go up, and you have to actually cut it off and you have to actually increase the price, otherwise you are kind of lying to people. So that sense of emergency is important. And if that doesn't, that's not clicking for you, or not understanding how you can apply that to your business, Fempreneur Marketing School is available. This book is available. Send me a DM on Instagram at YYC Fempreneurs. Go and grab the presentation PDF, the actual summary of this presentation at yycfempreneurs.com/3E, the number 3 and the letter E. Is it E or is it 3E or E3? I'll put the text right here right under my finger so that you know where to go. And yeah, that is where you need to go to get more information about leadership and the parallels between leadership and motherhood. And the really cool news is you have maternal instinct because you're a mother and you know the things you need to do to raise up great kids. So let's add a little more of that into our business. And one awesome thing about being a mompreneur is we get to show our kids day in and day out, especially now that we're all working and living really close together all the time. We get to show our kids what it looks like to actually bring our businesses to life, our dreams to life, serving people. They get to see us on Zoom. They get to hear the conversations. They get to understand what it means when mommy says, I'm going to work now. And that's awesome. So embrace it. Love it. Thank you so much for being here and for participating in this session with me. I'm just honored to have your attention and to be able to maybe meet you sometime soon, whether it just be on social media or maybe one day we'll see each other live in person. All right, have a great rest of your day, and keep fighting the good fight.